Hello, and welcome to another episode of Automation Ladies. This time, we are here with all of the ladies and our guest today, Caitlyn Young, who is a
Hi,
controls
everybody.
engineer and a co-owner of a company, and we have been very delinquent in having her on the show. We actually met her in person, or Allie and I did, at TraceRouteCon in Dallas with Josh Varkes earlier this year. So, Caitlyn, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad that we made a time and I appreciate the flexibility. So I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to talk.
You don't have to speak in details, but I know that, the work is the work and we come here to
Mhm.
chat about the work, which is why it's nice to be able to connect. And I
Right,
guess
right.
yesterday was one of those rough days where you can't
It
take the time out to
was.
do a podcast.
It was. It started early and was like it all day. You just have those days where you got a line at your desk of people waiting for you to get something done, and that was that day. So
Hey, I want to take a quick break from today's episode to mention our sponsor, Automate. It's coming up soon, and you have to be there. We're always there. It's going to be amazing. It's the biggest automation party of the year. You got robots, cobots, motion, vision tech, AI, you name it. All the cool stuff is going to be in one place for you to come see. Plus, lots of great companies and people to connect with, including us. So why don't you head over to automate.org, get your tickets, and we'll see you there. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm really glad we were able to reschedule for today. It worked out for me.
yeah,
I got a rare day with no meetings,
that's
which I
fantastic.
felt hadn't happened in a really long time.
Rare.
Very rare. Wait, can you recall the last time you had a day with no meetings with anyone?
Only
Um,
vacation days or what's it called?
Or weekends?
Like clearly holidays. You're like, oh, that's so weird. And then you're like, oh yeah, it's a holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like
Outside
Thanksgiving was very quiet, but also everything went
holiday.
down. There were no plants running. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Well, I guess we could just start with our standard question. Caitlyn, can you
Sure.
tell us, those that don't know you, who you are, and how the heck did you get to be an co-owner of a controls engineering company? Tell us your
Sure.
story.
Okay, sure. So I guess it starts probably college. I went to college in a small town in Missouri, Rolla, Missouri. So there's a school called Missouri Science and Technology. So I went there.
It's a good
I
school,
got
I've heard.
I've actually heard it's really good too.
good,
Engineering
good.
programs
Like
are really good
especially
there.
for chemical engineering.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it was tough. I think it had a higher dropout rate, but they have some really cool programs that are very parallel. So, Kimmy is a great program. Loved it. But they also have cool things like materials engineering or like ceramic engineering. And so, when you think Kimmy, you probably think more chemical or chemistry.
Yeah.
But really, the materials focus is in those materials or ceramic departments. The Kimmy is obviously, as you know, Allie, process heavy. So it lends itself more to physics more than chemistry when push comes to shove. But yeah, it was a great program. So I ended up getting a degree in chemical engineering, but I had a couple of internships while I was in school. And every time I needed to do a project on my internships, my manager would be like, okay, you need to go find the controls engineer. Great. But you can't really do anything. You got to wait for them. And then as it goes, the controls engineer had a line out the door of people waiting on him to get things done. And it seemed like everybody needed that person. I'm like, okay, how do I do that? Like, I want to be needed. I want to do something like that. And so, how do I do that? And so, I had a great professor in college. His name was Dr. Erickson, and he taught PLC classes. So, he wrote a book on it. His wife actually would sub some of our classes. So, it's kind of like a family affair, but he was a great
Oh.
professor. I took a bunch of his PLC classes and process control classes. And then I just had decided once I graduated, I wanted to go into process controls specifically. So I got a job with a big integrator out of college. I worked with them. It was a great company. The people were great. I had an opportunity come up to work for a guy doing hourly kind of thing at a very high rate, and it just made sense at the time. And then I met my husband Brett, and he had already started a company. And so when the time came where we had enough work for both of us, I officially quit my W-2 job, took the leap, and here we are. So Brett started the company, and then we've been along on this journey since then. So that's how I came to be where I am today. That's my story, and it's been a good one. So
Yeah, very
sometimes
cool. And
people
you guys have grown quite a bit, right?
we have, yeah, we've had really good success. So he came from a background of another integrator where he traveled quite a bit, and as you drive through Kansas City, there are plants everywhere. Like if you're paying attention, there are facilities and manufacturing plants everywhere. And that's kind of been our focus. Like we're here local, we can be there within an hour, and that's worked really well. We have some really great partners. Like our clients are really great in the area. And I just think people of Kansas City are really great. I'm biased, right? So we make a lot of cool products in the area, and
Yeah.
we love genuinely, my husband and I love controls. So if you have a controls thing or you want to see how something is made, that's just fascinating, right? And to see that it's made in your hometown is even better. So we love it. Yeah.
So yeah, Caitlyn, I guess if you don't mind answering my question first, what are some of the coolest products that you've seen made? And you don't have to obviously be specific about whether you've like worked in that plant or not, but I'm sure you've seen plenty of stuff. What are some of the coolest things that are made in Kansas City?
So I actually did an interview when I was in college. So I think it's okay to say we have a Frito-Lay factory in the area. And I would tell you during the tour, they have sampling along the way. This is the chips and hot Funyuns, like warm Funyuns right off the fryer after they've been coated, are really, really excellent. And so now
I had a Cheeto.
Oh, you did?
I had a Cheeto off the line in I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but Casa Grande, Arizona. Oops.
Okay.
There's a Frito-Lay plant there.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that they're all over. I think because their distribution is probably like a regional, but that was a cool.
They have
plant,
a cool
right?
program.
Yeah, and so we have a lot of auto manufacturers in the area. So we have the Ford plant for all the F-150s is in Kansas City. We also have a GM plant in Kansas City. I don't know. Without calling out specifics, I'm trying to think of.
I mean, they make barbecue sauce, right?
They do. Yeah, there's a couple sauce plants in the area. Those are more localized. We have a lot of great breweries. We have Boulevard Brewing, if you're familiar with that. Yeah, beer is always
I think coffee too. You guys make coffee.
Folgers used to be, there's a couple smaller coffee facilities. Folgers used to be downtown. And so growing up, I associated coffee smell with driving downtown Kansas City because the Folgers plant was downtown. Yeah. It's since relocated, but yeah.
Have you heard of Paris Brothers? I want to say they're in Kansas City.
They are, yeah. Brett has talked to some of those guys. Nothing's come out of it, but yeah, it's great coffee. And then we drink it, so no complaints. Between the beer and the coffee, we're set, right? Like all locally sourced.
Yeah,
I mean,
very nice.
Generally, 101 for a controls engineer is like supply them with a lot of coffee in the morning and then go out to have a beer at night and then rinse and repeat. So we got that covered.
It's like the reverse. It's like an inverse of Nikki's question, which was like, if there's an apocalypse, like what can you not make in Kansas City that you need to partner with another city to be like, well, like, do you guys make guns? Like,
I don't know. I don't work
or
in
like,
any,
I mean, obviously Kansas City's going to do wastewater treatment because you got to be able to clean water up.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you grow poultry and like cattle and stuff around. So you do like make food, not just farming is there. So you do have food, and you said cars even. So like, there's technology there. So it's like maybe microchips. You guys have microchips. Maybe that's where you need to like bring in from somewhere else, or like,
I'm not aware of any.
What would you be excited to see come in, or have you heard of anything coming in that you don't have?
Sure. So we actually, there's a very large Panasonic plant. So I believe that this is in conjunction with their Tesla contract.
So like batteries. The one that's up in Reno. Right.
Okay.
So
batteries.
They're duplicating that in DeSoto, Kansas. That's come up, and that's a big source. So the other, I guess I didn't mention, I do teach a night class. I teach a PLC night class at a local college, like a technical college. The college has done a great job with partnering with the new Panasonic plant to come in. The problem is I am certainly not an expert at the PLCs that they're using. I generally use like a big top 3, but I know that there's a big push for subject matter experts in the area for that. And so I think that's cool. And so what I think that they should do in conjunction with this is, you guys have talked to who used to work for Redwoods?
Alicia Lomas. Yeah, and she was recently.
Yeah. So I think it would be interesting to kind of park a Redwood right next to this facility, because you're going to have some sort of byproduct, I would think, or some sort of reject that needs to do something. And so that makes sense to me. If you have a battery facility, put the recycling one right next door.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool things that are happening in Kansas City. Kansas City is a great place to be. The big thing that you have to think of geographically for Kansas City is it's very central, and it has the largest inland port. So it's in Edgerton, Kansas. It
does have a port?
They call it a port. And so you have to think it's very centralized. So something we see a ton going up is warehousing and storage.
Yeah,
Okay.
like distribution.
That makes sense.
A ton of distribution
With
is
Amazon.
Yes. Yeah, we just got a new Meta facility in the Northland of Kansas City. Lots and lots of that going on. Just because it's such a centralized location, you can get to a coast either direction within a day or so from rail. And so the car manufacturers already use it, but the distribution and the warehousing has just exploded.
Well, I come back to the same question when I meet another couple that's trying to run a business together, because I think you guys are like the fourth couple I've met trying to be a married couple and business partners. So I know the challenges in my own life on that. But what's one of your biggest challenges as far as running a company with your husband?
That's an amazing question.
Brett is such a good engineer. Like, he just has a drive. He was meant to do controls. If he didn't do controls, he'd still do controls. That's just him through and through. And so while I really love my job, we call it off days. I require off days. And typically it's Sunday. Like, I don't want to be stressing about the whole week on Sunday. Like, I'll work most Saturdays, we get stuff done, and I need like an off day. And so in the beginning of this, his mind works, Sunday is the day to mentally prepare, but that has a tendency to stress me out. And I'm like, okay, I need an off day. And we figured that out, right? Like, we have figured out, I say, Brett, I need an off day. I need to turn my brain off. And he's got it. And I also understand that he needs an outlet. Like, he needs to say it out loud. He needs to work through it. And he wants to talk to me about it. And so that was a point of contention, because his
my
brain
husband calls that the rubber ducky.
Oh, does he? What's the rubber ducky?
Yeah, he calls that the rubber ducky. If there's no human around, he'll say it to a rubber ducky. But if I'm in the room, I'm the rubber ducky.
Yeah. And so we've gotten really good at like communicating. Okay, I need to not talk about work. You got to save it, or you need to tell me when you want to talk about it. But I need some hours that we're not constantly talking about it, because Monday through Saturday it's open. That's a big point of contention. We're talking about work. We're talking about kids. We're talking about, business in general, of what we want to do, what we want to see. And so Sundays, that was a learning curve for us. But since then, it's been great. And so the good thing about it, as you know, Courtney, it's a good security blanket, right? Like, we can be doing this for years and years, and there's going to be something you don't know that makes you a little nervous. And then I always know, okay, I can call Brett about it, and I'll bounce ideas off of him, see what he thinks. Am I going down the way wrong path with this? Or is it like I thought and I'm right? Which I'm always right, as he would say.
Oh, yeah.
So he's figured that out. And so,
do you feel that you have like opposing, because like they say opposites attract, like do you think you have opposing but like complementary traits? Because I know I've talked to him before about like, what Nikki does for me. Like I've talked to Brett, and like, he's taught kind of a little bit to the fact that like you are way more of a people person than him.
Yeah.
And that like you can go into a plant and just like people like you and like they want to talk to you, and they're like, yeah, Brett's cool, I guess. But it's really cool to talk to Caitlyn. It's just like it's just like he's an afterthought. It's like, and actually Courtney's husband does the same thing, where she's like, oh yeah, he refers to himself as Courtney's husband. And so I feel like Brett kind of does that in terms of like the social aspects, where he's just like, yeah, well, everyone wants to talk to Caitlyn. So, and I think that's like an amazing, like complementary relationship to have, like with your, significant other or whatever.
Yeah.
But is there other ways that like you guys complement each other? And then did you feel that to begin with? Did you know already, like, you're way more people-y than he is?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's funny. He is such a people person on the internet, abrasive at times, or like really outspoken and things like that. But when push comes to shove, if you're sitting in a plant, he's like down to business, right? So if he's there, he is very focused. He's like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to get a job done. And I'm like, what's going on today? Like,
Yeah.
you got anything
They
else
are
going
very
on?
both
You want me to-
important.
Yeah. And
For
so,
the success of a company, you need both to exist.
Yes. And so I remember one instance in particular. I had been doing something and I'm like, hey, I need you to come look at this. I'm swamped or something like that. And he came in and like saved the day and fixed it. And then I'm pretty sure they gave me the credit for it. They're like, oh, yeah. And so he was like, dang, I saved the day. They don't even know my name and they give you credit for it. So, that was comical. But no, he opens up and
as long as it keeps working.
Yeah.
Then they're going to call you when it stops working.
Yeah, don't mess it up, Brett. No, he's one of the smartest guys I know. Like if you want to talk controls, and if his background is really interesting. He worked in automotive for a very long time, then switched, and he's seen a lot, done a lot. And I think what part of it that works, that would cause us a problem is if we had different strategies on controls, or if we had different ideas, but we're pretty aligned on the theory of how we like to do things, right? So a lot of times our inclinations and our gut feeling on things is the same. Like we had an instance where we probably should have asked for a change order on a project, and he and I both kind of agreed, like, hey, no, let's just do it the right way. Like, let's do good karma, do it the right way. Let's take care of it. Let's take care of the customer. I think that we would have problems. I think we're both controls and customer service minded, right?
Yeah.
So if one person was business minded, like, no, you need to charge that hour, you need to charge that for, and I'm sitting on the side of like, okay, let's just do what's right. Like in the grand scheme of things, we're okay. I think things like that are hard. And so we're very aligned on that. And then, I mean, even down to like programming styles, at least I think we're on the same page, right? So no one really cares about that, but we do program in a very simple way, very simple, straight to the point, clean. I don't think that flares are necessary or fancy stuff that nobody can understand. It's funny
and just putting notes,
interview,
just like describing what the hell you're doing in each rung, or whatever.
Comment it out
yeah.
so that somebody could explain. Yeah, we
I do
when we
for
interview,
me. I don't even care if anybody else can read my code afterwards. I need to be able to understand my own my own notes. I'm writing all my comments for me.
Yeah. But I feel like we've all been, especially right out of college, like first of all, I didn't know anything out of college to begin with. Like I thought I did, of course. And then you get to the real world. And so a couple of the first programs I wrote out of college were super complex. And I thought that they were super clever and they were great, right? And then I put it in front of the client and they're like, I can't follow this. I don't know how to maintain this. And so it worked and it was super clever. And I think that what I've learned is, okay, yes, just because it does work doesn't mean that it's sustainable and that it's the best solution for the client. So if it's a little more work on the back end to make it straightforward and readable, they'll love you for that, or that'll be the best long-term solution, so that your technicians can read it, that they don't have to call you every time. Now, do I want them to call me every time? Absolutely. Right. But I don't want to like back you into a corner that you have to. So,
and you don't want them to call with the bitterness in the back of their mind that they had to call you and they should not have to. Right.
I feel like that's such a huge deal. Like as an industry, could I lock down every program and call it proprietary and say, okay, well, I wrote it. It's my proprietary property and you have to call me. Yeah, I could do that. Would I get return business from it? No, hell no. Nobody wants that. And so.
But you made a really good point about that, like some differences, strengths, and like weaknesses, it's good to have different. And then other things you like almost absolutely have to be aligned on for a partnership to work well. And I really connected with what you said about like that billing those hours, or just like I had a partnership where I owned some real estate with someone. And I found out a little too late that like we never agreed on things like what we would agree to do for the tenant versus charging them themselves.
Yeah.
And I always tend to think a little bit more like you long term. I want to have like good customer service, and I will more often than not absorb small things if I think that they're beneficial or like add to the long term. Whereas some people think very differently. They very much look at that like short term. Are you losing out on money, or are you overpaying, or should it be somebody else's responsibility? I just personally find like it adds too much friction to everything to think that way all the time. But I think even if you have a partner that you have that difference in thinking, like that'll be the main source of friction.
Yeah.
Probably one of the reasons why Allie and I work very well together. My husband and I probably won't be starting a business with him again anytime soon. Because we have and he's not the person I'm actually talking about this in this example at all. But we've tried that, and we found that yes, we work very well together on some things, but I would have to structure a business a lot differently if I wanted to work with my husband again.
Yeah.
But also it was for us, it was at a time where we were both working from home and we had 2 young kids. And so like that day off that you mentioned, that doesn't exist. Also, when you don't exactly like properly plan your roles out and you know where the boundaries are and who's handling what and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I like that you brought that up because from the get-go, I think that we kind of had a mutual understanding. Okay, this is both of ours. We're both putting equal work. But when push comes to shove, I don't want to be the boss of things. I want to do engineering and I want to run some projects. And then Brett's going to handle all of the business side. And I appreciate him for it, right? Like, I'm very grateful that he handles those things. And we kind of have appreciation for our individual roles. And so I want him, like, you can't have 2 bosses. That's a hard thing. And for our employees, like, okay, well, how does that work? Right. And so for us, Brett's a boss.
There's one.
Like, I push this through Brett. He's going to have the final say and we'll communicate it with it. And something that he does very well is he always considers my opinion. Right. So we always work together to these things. But in the end, he is the leader of this company. He does a great job at it. I appreciate him for it. That's kind of how we work. I think establishing that, I think that was a little bit of a no-brainer because I don't want to run a company on my own. Like without Brett, I wouldn't want to do it if we're calling it. It's really hard. Like we all know how hard.
Well, you're smarter than me because I thought I wanted that and I've turned out to not like that. Good call. It sucks. Yeah.
It's stressful. There's a lot of weight that comes with it. And he carries that weight.
I long for the engineering, just like you're like, I want to do engineering. You literally just said it up front. You're like, this is what I want to do. And that's, will keep you happier way longer.
I like it that he runs the company. He runs finances. He keeps everything moving. We have a great admin that also helps. And that has been like such a lifesaver. Shout out to Allie Wilson. She is fantastic. But he also likes that I go out and get POs, right? So we have an understanding. I will keep people busy and keep clients happy and keep working, and he'll run the back end and he'll help me when I need it. So it works
sales
well.
Basically as well, right? Do you have a sales department? Do you have
a really good partnership?
Sales?
No, we don't. We talked about it before. I think that at some point we need it. Right now, it's people that we know or people, a lot of our businesses come from like service calls, right? So what we've kind of advertised is, hey, if you're in the Kansas City metro area and your normal integrator, like you can't get a hold of them or it's like a Saturday night at 2 a.m. and the plant is down hard and like we're your last call us. Like, what's the worst that can happen? We'll come in, we'll take a look at it. And then that spins into something or they just need some service. And we really pride ourselves on being very quick. We respond very quickly and that we try to make things as easy as possible, right? And so that has worked out really well. Like, I think that people at the end of the day, while it is engineering, it is customer service, right? So you want to work with people you want good clients as well, right? So you want a good partnership. So if we treat you really well, they treat us really well. It's worked out great. And it's growing. I think that that's a testament. We have a really great team. People that are learning, it's great to see them work well together. We get these big projects and it's fun to work with people, right? Like, it is great to work with people. So
when you're with people that actually, you have enough in common, not like necessarily in a personal level, but just to be able to like work with them. And it's a pleasure to spend some time with them. And then they're also as motivated as you are, or at least, up to some degree as motivated. You'll never be as motivated as the business owner, but
never as much as Brett.
No, but it's harder. It's a lot more enjoyable to work with people that are also motivated towards whatever mission that you have.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've really been enjoying working with the PCE team lately. Similarly, like everybody's just really stoked about what's going on and what we're doing and the growth. Do you guys hire from your local college where you teach and stuff, or how do you guys get your talent?
The people that we've hired have been people that we've known and then referrals. I will say interviewing is really tough. Like I struggle to interview because I think that
it's too hard to know someone in an hour or less.
Right.
And they're telling you everything you want to hear, and that's all they're gonna tell you.
Right, exactly.
You know, and they need the job or the money maybe. And actually, maybe it's a good sign when they're like not so care, but then at the same time, it's like, is that nonchalantness and rude? And like now you're gonna take it personally. Right. It's like this just a really fine balance of like, are you cocky or are you like overconfident or are you like totally underqualified and just lying to me?
I think you've run into this. You get to the position where, they need the skills and the ability to learn how to do something. And we hope that they have some experience, but the personal side of it plays just as much of a factor. Like you have to be able to get along and have the same vision and then do what's right for the customer.
Ambition.
And in the right way. Right. And so I think that comes with its struggles. And also this is all new for us, right? Like interviewing and trying to build a team is a new thing for us. And we certainly have not done it perfectly. Like there's certainly things
Me
that
neither.
Look back. Right. We've looked back and we're like, okay, well, that was on us. Like we didn't clearly say, like we meant
absolutely
we want you to do XYZ, but we didn't directly ask you to. We assumed way too much. And so,
I think I've overwhelmed a lot of people by not having the expectations like really clearly up front. I think I try to say this is crazy, but like I don't really explain how crazy. And I think that is important because some people are into crazy, but like there's a limit and they're like, oh, I didn't know you were that. And they're like, never mind. So that's kind of what's going on with me is people are like, I was into this, but I didn't know you were like this bad. And like, I don't want to. So that's kind of what's happening. My faces are like really comical. I have like a really animated face. I think it's just like genetic. I'm Mexican and white, so I have like the most I like to take pictures. Like I like to take many pictures of myself and then just take like the worst ones and make them into memes because I like to make the weirdest faces. But I can also find everyone else makes pretty weird faces.
But then you wear a hat and it's great. And I love
wearing. I have now 5 Stetsons. It's totally out of control.
Whoa! What's the first one you got? When did you get the first one?
My first one was a Seneca sand color, and then I got, I think, the black one, and then the gray one, and then the white one, and then the dark brown one.
Was that Caleb? Did Caleb Travis turn you on to those?
Yeah, he definitely helped.
Yeah, bad influence or good influence, depending on how you look at it.
No, I'm not paying as much as him yet.
Oh, okay,
because he's like, when you're ready to like level up, you got to do the 50x beaver, which is like $1,400 or something. And I'm like, okay, I'm only spending like $300 or less on my hats right now. So I have a nice collection, but like they're only like $300 or less, to average maybe, 200. But I'm ready to get there eventually, but I need a horse and stuff. Or at least like a cow. I'd like to own a cow, even if I just like totally lost all my money. Cause like it's like a bucket list item. Nikki's like, please don't do this.
Hey, at least I was gonna say, at least you can sustain yourself with a cow.
Okay, so you're okay with me having 1 cow? Because like I was trying to get with Luke Morgan, and I was like, Luke, let's grow Wagyu beef in Texas. And he's like, okay, let's do it. He's like, I don't even know what that is, but I like steak.
There you go.
So maybe that was too much. But
start with a couple, sure. Yeah.
Like some chickens or something.
I would totally Japanese style grow these cows. That would be so cool. In Texas.
I was gonna say, is there a place in Seattle? You're in Seattle area?
Yeah, I'm leaving. I'm officially moving. Like I've been saying it, but like I'm like officially saying it now. And looking for like where I'm going, and I'm gonna tell this place like goodbye. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. That's exciting. Texas?
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you.
We always said that if we didn't have kids in school, Texas would be really appealing.
It's very appealing to me. Everyone is crazy Texas. And there's guns everywhere. I feel really good about it. Like I feel really like at home.
Yeah, it's a good place, and they have Buc-ee's. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I love Buc-ee's. I
yeah.
love barbecue.
I was just talking to my husband about Buc-ee's yesterday because when I was in college, there was a small Buc-ee's, if you can imagine, a very small Buc-ee's.
No, I can't imagine a small Buc-ee's. That's
No,
They
cannot.
were like normal size.
Yeah, they were normal sized gas stations, and they just had the best snacks and like the cleanest restrooms. But then now it's like this mega giant thing. But like the reason I brought it up is like now a lot of other gas stations are trying to kind of duplicate some of that. But what you can't duplicate is the fact that the business has been built with that customer service in mind from the very start, both from like the customer service aspect and then also the employee aspect, right? So they pay way better than anybody.
Both sides know, like, go to Buc-ee's, whether you work there or you go there, like, for
and
the
you know
service.
that the people are genuinely like happy to be there when you go in there, and they want to be there.
They tell you hi. They're like, welcome.
Yeah. And so no matter like if you're coming to the game now and going, oh, we got to compete, you know, we're going to beat Buc-ee's by having also huge, big restrooms. It's like, yeah, but you know, you're missing like the other 75% of what makes them so great.
So, okay. You're in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had a job one summer in Victoria, Texas. There is a plant in like Port Lavaca. Do you know where that's at? It's
is that north?
That's south, I think.
It's on the coast, so it's halfway between Houston and like kind of San Antonio. It was an hour away from Port A.
Oh, okay.
And so it was right there on the coast, but they had a Buc-ee's there, and it was small, but they did breakfast tacos.
Hell
and
yeah!
It was the first time I had seen that, and I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever."
Texas does.
I saw they had bird houses, and I was like, "What in the Walmart is going on in this gas station?" And I fell in love. My first one was in Fort Worth. Yeah, I was doing a Farmer Brothers coffee plant, and I saw one of these giant gas stations. I didn't really care. And I went in there and I was like, this is amazing.
That's so awesome.
I was like, this is so freaking Texas. I can't even handle it. But it had really good sandwiches. I mean, there was everything in there. A million kinds of drinks. Like, how many kinds of like, what is it? Trail mix. Or like different kinds of like nuts with every kind of flavor. And sauce or jam. It was just like a farmer's market with Walmart and clothing. And swag, and like I bought a little like Bucky beaver, Bucky ball. It's like the little dude, and like I loved it, and I was like, "What is this?" And just like eating a sandwich from a gas station is supposed to be disgusting. Not for Buc-ee's.
Nope, that's great.
It's a gourmet ass sandwich right there.
You guys have, if you're gonna visit Kansas City, we have to go to a Quick Trip. It's not Buc-ee's. It's different. But Quick Trips are the thing.
Quick Trips? I've been to those. I don't know if those are they're nice.
I've been to
Quick Trips. It's a different, it's not in Buc-ee's league, but Quick Trip is the superior gas station in Kansas City.
Oh,
okay. So they have, like, you can get a hot dog or like a corn dog.
Not a hamburger, a donut, right? You need donuts.
Yeah, and they have their own energy drink called Rooster Booster.
Huh.
So, anyways, if you're in the area, but to your point, Nikki, it's always the cleanest. It's always the most taken care of. And the people, they pay, I want to say like $25 an hour to work there. And so
that's awesome.
A line out the door, but they're like, bam, bam, bam. Thank you. Have a nice day. Next.
Yeah.
So
there's a Taco Bell, and it may or may not still be there, but in Pleasanton, California, that really, like, the franchise owner, I think, makes a point to train his people specifically to be super happy and like really nice. And
it makes a difference.
But it makes a huge difference. Like, I specifically would go to that Taco Bell over any other Taco Bell ever, because you don't expect to have a pleasant interaction going through a drive-through necessarily, or like anything more than just transaction. As long as
there's a McDonald's where I live where I won't go because they don't want me there. Like, they genuinely, like, every time I go there, they're just like, oh my God, you again. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to the other McDonald's.
I think genuinely,
I'm gonna go
people
spend my
don't wanna
money
be
over
where they
there.
are, they're gonna make you feel like you shouldn't want to be there either, right?
Right. You're like, I already feel guilty about whatever I'm about to consume right now.
I was like, can I have a water bottle? They're like, can't you see we don't have any water bottles? And I'm like, I couldn't, but now I can. Like, I feel bad for asking you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that that seems to work, or at least in your case, has been helpful in your company, because it's also, I would say in our case, Allie, with, it's one of the competitive strengths of PCE as well, is the focus on the culture. And so like her people have a pretty extreme sense of ownership when they go out to represent the company and to do it in the way that, Allie would, right? Which is going to take care of the customer.
Yeah.
And do what needs to be done. And
how have you figured that out, Allie? Do you feel like you've had to find people that inherently have that, or do you feel like you've done really good training or these conversations? How do you get to that place?
They already were like that, and like they took some training definitely, but like they were already kind of integrity based folk. And you can tell like they're just like super honest from the beginning. And I was honest with them. I was like, this is a risk. Like I don't know that I have like a 10-year job for you. I don't even know if I have a 5-year job for you, but like, if you join me, like I will take the best care I can. And one of the things I told them was that if I ever for some reason couldn't, like it died, like PC died, if that happened ever, that I would use my network, and they know that I have a good sized network to, write them amazing recommendations and just like, tell other people what their skills are and make sure that I could find them jobs. I always told them that, and like they've always like been, there's a loyalty aspect that like, you can't really buy it. You had to do it. You had to do it with like with your actions, not just your money. So there is there is something that you can buy with actions that you can't buy with money. And that loyalty is just the interactions, and like, some of my people are like, you're one of the first people to give me a chance, and other people were not giving me anything, and then once you gave me a chance, now other people want to employ me, and they realize that like they want to give me like kind of like first dibs almost. And I'm like, you know what? I understand that like you're always going to do what you need to do for your family. And even with that understanding, because like, and I think that even helps more, because I'm like, I don't expect you to come do something for less money or less opportunity for your family. But I don't usually offer that. I usually offer more than whatever. And that's the other thing I ask is I'm like, hey, I would like an opportunity to know what those others are going to offer you in case I can give you more. But if I can't give you more, I'm just gonna like I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you do your thing. Because that's what I did. Like I have that same karma coming to me. I did that. I had to take care of me and my family. And so a lot of these people, like they're still stuck on me, even if I tell them that they can do whatever they need to do. So I'm in a good spot, I feel, where we have good conversations and communication with our customers, but just as importantly, like the people that want to work for me, like believe in me, and they say that, and they're like, no, I trust you, and I think that you would take care of us. / I think that you would not just go do stupid things, and I don't think you're crazy, which I think is really nice, because I've met so many people that work for crazy people, and they say that they're like, oh yeah, our CEO's nuts. And like, I feel like people don't say that about me. I feel like really good about that. Like, because maybe they're like, no, she's like solid. Like she's like us, versus like, I know I've heard it all. Like, oh my God, our CEO's freaking crazy. And like, I don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, I also understand that like not everyone's going to love me. And I get rejected often in terms of like people being like, well, I don't really want to be here because this is really weird or unstable.
That's what to say. I think we've gotten now to a team where through some attrition, you're left with, or not left with. That sounds kind of negative, but now you like have a real core team.
We filtered out,
that has decided that this is your jam.
The people that can't really, and it's nothing wrong about them. It's just it's a different way of working. It's a different way of life, and like at least I feel like my team is highly neurodivergent, and like that's the only way forward is like understanding other people that are like,
Sure.
I don't know how
Yeah.
to say it, but like I
Yeah.
am the worst. In terms of like, I feel sometimes that I can't keep the focus in a way that is helpful for the people that I'm talking to. And that hurts them because they believe in me and all those things, but they need direction. And me doing this isn't direction, and it hurts them. So like sometimes I feel like I'm paying people to listen to me and be confused. So that's one thing I'm like focusing on is like having people in the meetings with me that are like, that's not on the agenda. So we should stop talking about that and come back to the things. Because otherwise I'll take the first two things maybe on the agenda and maybe touch them. And then I'll go on a crazy rant some other direction that has nothing to do with it. And that doesn't solve, we don't talk about what we needed to talk about.
Sure.
So
well, great. Now let's move it back to our guest, Caitlyn. Thank you for the wonderful rant, Allie.
Love it. But to that point, I mean, something we talk about a lot is building a team that everybody has the same vision, right? And so the same vision and the same belief, like it's just realistic. A small startup company, you're never going to pay the most. You're not going to offer the most stability. You're not going to offer that ideal, cushy work from home, log in a couple hours, and that's it, right? But what we do have is we have a great vision, and I think it's exciting to be a part of something that's growing, right? Like you see it growing. We're doing our annual business review today. And so we're having these discussions like, look, we were excited back here when we were doing this business with these people, and this was it. And now look how far we've come. And so now that we've seen this, we've seen these years, this is what we're looking towards the future, right? And so to see everybody's growth, to see the company's growth, and then to do the visioning, I feel like that's such an important part. And you didn't say it directly, Allie, but I feel like your people believe in that vision, right? So they believe these are our capabilities. We feel good about this when we go home at night. Like we accomplished something, it's exciting, and this is where we're going. And so I think that's important. I think if not, you can always find some place that works more or pays more, works less, right? Like there's always options out there. And so but the vision is exciting, right? That's what I think, at least.
Caitlyn, do you feel that you're building something that your kids will want to take over?
Actually, I love that you asked that. No, I think actually pretty.
You don't think so?
That's very fair.
No, adamantly. Like I would be so
fair.
offended. I would be so offended if I was working someplace for 30 years. I dedicated my life to the growth of a company only for someone to bring in their kid that had been doing it 5 years and is now the boss, right? And so do I want them to do automation? Absolutely. Do I want them to get into engineering? Absolutely. Do I want to work for the company and to want to work for our company? Absolutely. But do they need to earn it? Yes. Will they be given the boss, right? Like if they want to start out of college and they want to work really hard and be promoted by their peers, that's the biggest testament. Yes, of course I want that. Of course I want that for them. But no, I don't want kids to take over. Who do I want to take over? I want the people that are growing the team right now, that are grinding in and out day after day. You don't see the initial return on a paycheck. You don't even see the initial return as a fat bonus at the end of the year. You see it years and years of growth, and you look back and you say, okay, I grew that. It's mine. And so something we've been talking about in our planning is employee ownership. Yeah. So that's a big point of, it's a big goal for us, right? Yeah. So if you're going to work for ESOP. So if you're going to take the risk to work for a startup where you got to work a lot, you got to sacrifice family time, you got to go in at odd hours, you got to do those jobs you don't necessarily love to do, but it's for the greater good of the company, then do you deserve to have a part of the company that you grew? Absolutely. So that's kind of the avenue that we're working towards. And I'm excited about it. Like Brett and I never started this to become millionaires and like right off into the sunset. No, we started this because we wanted to do controls our way and have some say, over what kind of jobs we're doing, where we're doing it, how we do business, right? Like, I mean, Brett is so funny about things like the ability to look at a job, to quote it the same day and have the proposal out without having 15 signatures and it go through procurement and get corporated, as they would say, right? Because then now our clients can rely on us for a quick turnaround, no red tape, and still do a really great job. But I mean, I worked for a corporate job. Like once you get massive, there, I understand you have to do that, right? You have to have some standardization, and you can't have every which person writing out a contract that you don't know what you're agreeing to, and they don't know what they're agreeing to. So I get it, but we just are in a really unique, flexible situation that we don't have to do that. We can push proposals out, we can get things ordered quickly. We just don't have the same red tape that everyone has to deal with. So it allows
too much
us to work really
overhead.
effectively.
You guys are lean and mean.
Yeah.
I like lean and mean teams. It's like 3 people are the decision makers. So
yeah. Get things done fast.
Get things done
and
quick.
efficiently. Yep. Yeah. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of what we have going on.
Yeah, very cool. I was going to ask, as you were talking about the mission earlier, and that, it's the vision, I guess you mentioned, and that you're excited about it. And you want to share with us a little bit about your vision and about your company?
Sure. So right now we have 6 engineers, and then we have an admin. And so we're working in about 30 facilities around the Kansas City metro area. So we're small and mighty and wildly efficient. And so what we're looking to do is we're looking to be a very good provider for all automation in the Kansas City area. We talk about this often. Like our distributors are like, yeah, but what specifically? You can't do everything. And I'm like, well, why not? Why can't we? Why can't I set up a network switch one day and do process controls the next day and then look at a servo the following day? Why can't I do that? Right? And so, because in a lot of these facilities, they don't have the funding to have 3 people to do that, right?
Yeah.
And we as a small company I can't hire someone that just knows a switch, right? Like, yeah, sure, I'll have some switch configuration and some networking, but not busy full time. So wouldn't it be really great if that person did networking and PLC programming, or like each person has their unique strengths? And so what I am focused on and what our visioning is the Kansas City metro area. And the reason that I'm so specific is great customer service. Mm-hmm. Like if you need someone on site, I think what we saw coming out of COVID a lot was we went remote work only, right? And then what happened was these companies, you talk about like an apocalypse, who's going to know how to build a panel, or like who could be an electrician in apocalypse, right? Like, can you wire up something? Like that's what we talk about, because you have a bunch of people that are highly educated that work remotely really well. But if something went wrong, could you actually physically go fix it?
So I remember, I'm gonna interject. I'm sorry.
No, you're okay.
There's a scene from Grey's Anatomy, which is of course like fictionally up in Seattle. But they have some catastrophe, like something happens at the hospital and everybody's the HVAC goes out, and 2 of the doctors went up to the roof to try to open the panel for the HVAC system. And like they open it up and it's like all these VFDs and all these things, and they have like no idea what to do. Yeah. And like they can't save their lives. They tried, right? They can't do it to save their life. They're doctors, they save lives, but like they will not know what is going on in there.
They couldn't do that. Yeah. Man, I love Grey's. I haven't watched it in a long time.
Sorry, I totally interrupted your train of thought there.
No, it's okay.
But recently diagnosed as an adult with ADHD. I'm like, I don't know how I didn't see that before, but okay. No, I've been trying to stop interrupting people for 37 years now. Well, yeah, but it seems like it might be futile.
It's okay. No, but it's the same kind of point coming out of COVID. You had a lot of people that got really used to remote work, but what factories really need is they need someone to be boots on the ground, helping physically there. And so I think the theory is that eventually I think if you expand, then you have enough offices to do so. But there's so much in Kansas City that we could be supporting. I think that's the growth we're looking to, is to really be invested in our local home community and making our own home community manufacturing a really great place to work and to do business, right? And to have that integration support piece. So that's our focus.
And that is a focus, even though you're not focusing on a niche of automation, your niche is your local area and the fact that you provide whatever they need, right? Yeah. And you're not the only one. I think it was Alex Poole from Mast Owl Technologies that we talked to recently, and they're a relatively newer startup, although he's run a systems integration company before and then worked for some very large ones, and now went back to, started his own because, again, he kind of wanted to do it a certain way that he's been he's been able to build teams and things, but he also was like, no, we do all the automation things. Like,
yeah.
I know all these marketing people tell me like to pick a niche, but really like I think also trying to shove controls engineers or automation engineers into a box, it's like you're doing
them
a huge disservice right there.
Yeah.
So how do we market? I think that's really smart to just also, you do have a focus. So you do have a point of differentiation over just being like, well, we do all the things for everyone.
Sure. And not being too good for work. Like I've had customers say, hey, my local integrator said we don't do that. Like, that's not it. Like we're here 8 to 5 and we only do engineering. So we can't help you with that, right? I'm like, let me at it. I'll change that drive. I'll look at a sensor. Let's go.
And I think also if you look at it from that standpoint as a growing business, and of course a growing business that is hungry for more customers and market share is going to be different from like a large company that's maintaining or that isn't as focused or as hungry. But that really is like, that's the basis of that long-term relationship is the next time that you come in for a bigger project that makes, sense for you financially, you have that background information of the sensor that you came to check a while back. Right? You've learned a lot about the facility. You've proven yourself, and then you end up with some institutional knowledge of the customer, which in this industry, just like everything, like once you spec something, you usually don't change it. Once you find someone that's reliable that you can work with, you're probably not going to change that unless you absolutely have to.
Unless something happens,
Yeah, exactly.
You see time and time again in this industry. Well, we use that company because we like that person, and then that person left. So, that happens.
I know that's what happened with Allie, with her largest customer. They follow you around sometimes for sure. And that's the sign of just like quality people, right? They know that they can trust what they're going to get. And oftentimes it is about the person and the company. Courtney?
That's how Greg started too, actually, because he was one of those guys that would be there like on the weekend with a pizza trying to solve things. And then when he left the company and started his own company, all those customers knew that he was the guy there with the pizza. So, he was able to do it by word of mouth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Before we got on this phone call, I was trying to Eric Collins.
Oh,
I'm gonna try to meet Eric Collins coming up. I'm gonna get his neck of the woods.
You should.
Oh, nice.
He's gonna be in Temecula, so let's go say hi to him.
Yeah. Maybe you can meet Greg as well. He's a little bit not too far.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half ish away.
Yeah.
We'll make a whole trip out of it.
Yeah, it's all Southern California, right?
Oh, yeah, you can drive an hour to get somewhere. Yeah. Well, very cool. I guess we're almost coming up on our hour here, and so Caitlyn, I'll unless the other ladies have something burning on their mind that they haven't asked yet. Allie, Courtney.
I wasn't going to ask. I was just going to make a comment that, like, one of the things that I always felt was similar with PCE and ICE. You guys are called, and I mean, I think you guys have even proven this more than we have, just because of the amount of people that you've been able to service, is that, like, Brett kind of always said that differentiator between you guys and other integrators in your area. And like, I feel like that's what I was trying to go for is you're going to be there. You're going to be there at 2 a.m, at 5 a.m, on Sunday, on Monday, you don't give a shit. And that's something that like Brett, like is adamant about proving to everyone, and the customer is like, you're going to be there. And that's like part of how you choose your people is like, they're going to be there. And if they're not that kind of person, they don't need to be with you. Because that's who's going to be there is just like, you got customer service is number one. He's not joking. It's not an afterthought. Like, it's not even like,
not a slogan like, to put on a business.
I have met and worked with, unfortunately, a lot of people that say that. And then when it really comes down to brass tacks, they don't. Then it's about them.
And I think he's obsessed with proving that he really will be there and his people will really be there.
Yeah.
And in the ass crack of dawn. Like when no one else is like, hell no, during Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever, when your people aren't going to be there and you had to pay them extra time, like you're just these people will just show up and be there for you. So,
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Allie.
Thanks, Allie. I appreciate that. I wonder why you said that.
I love how, I guess, this industry is small and big at the same time. But I've very much found that I'm drawn to continuing relationships, I guess, with people that have these sorts of things in mind. And so I think those circles become smaller as you get to know more and more of those people that have that in common. Eric Collins, from my limited interaction with him, is definitely one of those people as well. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that, Caitlyn.
I can't wait.
Yeah, so our last standard question is, and I will now tell you to plug your company name and your website for those that don't know. And if they are in Kansas City, how do they get a hold of you if they either want to work with you or, you know, any of those sorts of things? And then if there's anything that we should be looking forward to follow that you have coming up, and then how can people get a hold of you or follow you? The answer is usually LinkedIn, but in case you have anything else you want to say, this would be the time.
Sure. So LinkedIn is great. So our company is Integrated Controls and Engineering. The website is ice-controls.com. You should also, my husband is a very smart guy. He actually has
Ultra automation.
Ultra automation. Yeah. So ultra automation is panel devices such as temperature, conductivity, and humidity, I think are the ones I have to double check. But anyways, those are patented devices he came up with because he was like, hey, this is what I need. It doesn't exist. So if you run into the same thing, you need those ultra automation. And find us on LinkedIn, I suppose. I'm not super active, but he is. He's the online social butterfly. Okay. I'm the in-person social butterfly.
How far will you guys go away from Kansas City? What's the you're like, maybe I'll what, are there other cities you also service?
I wouldn't say no. I will say just because our customers in Kansas City have treated us really well, that's a mutual thing. So if we have the opportunity and it makes sense, then we'll go wherever. But it won't be at the expense of somebody that's really treated us well in the area.
Good. Okay.
So that's
a good way to put it.
That's a good answer.
You'll only leave if you can definitely keep the service up where you have it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, that's fantastic.
So anytime somebody has something, and I will say this, some people have bucket lists to see stadiums or go to games or sports. I don't know what is sports. We probably are on the lines of we would see manufacturing plants. So if anybody wants to give us a manufacturing plant tour, we will travel for that, right?
Okay. Oh, yeah. And Caitlyn, I'm going to make an offer on the show that I do occasionally. Which is, if you would ever like to represent Automation Ladies in a factory tour that you get to go on, we would love to share. And normally you can't share any of the content or you can't even create but if there are places, some of them have public or semi-public factory tours. If you ever end up in that situation and you want to share some of that content with our community, they would love to see it. So we'd love to have you kind of field correspond for us.
Sure.
So to speak. I've always had this idea in addition. So we started this podcast as a podcast, but it's kind of morphed into some other things as well. So my inspiration initially was this podcast called
It's a community,
which is Pam and Angela from The Office. And they have a podcast where they talk about The Office. But the other one was kind of like a daily show type thing. Obviously, we can't do daily and we're not about politics, but I just really like that it's it discusses a certain subject matter, but with humor. And then also there's a lot of different people. They each have their own little role to play. And some of them come in for a little while and then they move on and get their own shows. Or some of them stay and become the hosts.
There's a lot of humor in what we do, I think.
And Allie.
Just not in what we do, but in our human interactions are insanely comical most of the time.
Yes. And I could say that as controls engineers, it's a special kind of person.
Right.
Even electricians are hilarious.
Yeah. Man, I have funny stories.
It's just a good time out there.
So consider that and feel free to, let that live a little bit rent free in your brain and any other ideas that you come up with that you want to throw our way. We are game to say yes to way too many things, as usual.
I will put it on the universe.
Yeah.
I want to do one at Boulevard. I want to do one at Boulevard Brewing. Okay. So if anybody from the Kansas City metro area has a contact,
please
wants to talk brewing.
Thank you.
Let's put that out there.
It'll be a good one.
We'll make it happen.
A great representation of Kansas City manufacturing.
How does marketing hurt you?
Right.
That's what
And we like beer.
We like beer.
Well, hopefully we will be sharing one in person again sometime in the near future. we really appreciate you coming on, the flexibility.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We had a great time, and yeah, maybe we'll have Brett on sometime next season. Get the other side of the story.
No, he asked to be on here today. He was like, "Can I join you?" And I'm like, "Brett, you get to do your own."
Okay, yeah. I was about to say we totally would have said yes, but good call.
Yeah.
We'll let him have his turn to shine.
Well, somebody's got to run the annual business review.
Yeah, right.
We'll let them do that. Yeah.
That's funny.
All right, back to it, everybody. I guess I don't know if you're driving or
Thanks, everyone.
this weekend, but we're gonna get back to work, and then shortly we will be going live with Ryan Treese. So it's a busy automation ladies Thursday for us here in December. This will probably air in 2025, I think, because we're a little bit booked out. But yeah, thank you again so much, Caitlyn. We look forward to seeing you around more. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit end now. Thanks.